guest that I'm excited to bring to you today. His name is Jay Pyatt. He's a relationship mentor working with guys and couples to help them repair and improve their relationship. Jay has been working in this field for the past several years, and Jay and his wife, Lori, have been together for 24 years and look forward to new adventures in their years ahead. But there was a time he had a dark secret relating to pornography, and he had to open up. He had to step into courage, and he had to be honest, and he had to finally let go of the secret and share with his wife what was going on. So I'm excited to bring Jay to you today as we have a heart-to-heart conversation on pornography, emotional intelligence, and healing marriages. Without further ado, here's our guest, Jay Pyatt. Jay,
hi there.
I'm so excited to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, Raven. Thank you.
Well, I want to share with the audience that we selected you and Lori because of your story to be our empowered couple a couple months ago. So again, congratulations. It was our honor to have you on the cover of Innovative Businesses magazine.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's dive right in. Here you had this secret. How long had you been holding this secret?
Well, in some ways it was a secret, in some ways it wasn't. I had told Lori about it before our marriage, but really there was a 4-year period where I had convinced her I didn't have a problem when I really did. And so that 4-year period was surrounded by a lot of lies. I tell people I lied to her face at least 1,000 times in that 4-year period about what I was doing. So whether or not you believe pornography is an issue, lying to your spouse about it is really not healthy. Whether, whatever pornography does in your life, doing that is not really healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned the fact that it's not healthy, because we talk to our audience a lot about how when we hold things inside of us, how it can affect different parts of our bodies different ways. Did you actually feel like there was some physical stuff going on?
Maybe a little bit. I think it was more that I knew I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I was so ashamed of what I was doing and who I was. And yet I was also believing the lie that I just needed one more day to get everything right. And in doing that, I continued to betray my wife and cause a lot of pain for her.
You're actually seeing a picture of Jay and his beautiful wife, Lori, and you guys have been together 24 years as of date?
Yes, yes.
How did you guys go from that to actually wanting to help people, and who have you been helping and why?
Right. Well, I wish I had told Lori. She confronted me, and that led to, a lot of problems, but that's really where we decided to start helping other people. Lori's had this on her heart her whole life, her whole adult life anyway, to help other marriages. But we went through really some very bad years, some very real struggle.
You can imagine.
Not because of Lori, but because of my own ability to relate well. And so the big problem that faces the couples we work with, the guy thinks quitting the behavior, whatever the betrayal is. So for me, it was pornography. For other guys, it might be gambling or some other form of addiction that has betrayed his spouse. And he thinks, when I quit that behavior, she'll trust me again. But for the spouse, she knows, okay, I get that he's quit the behavior, but I still don't trust him. And that's where the problem really starts, is not, okay, the behavior's gone. It's, how do we move from, you've lied to me and I don't trust you, to I trust you again enough to stay in this relationship. And so that is really what we've been doing. We've been doing that since, well, for the last several years, like you said. and we've been talking to couples about this, hundreds of couples about this throughout our marriage, because it's been an issue that we've struggled with. So as we went through the process, we developed tools, we developed skills, we realized things that we either were lacking or we just simply didn't know about, that I had to integrate back into my own way of relationship. And some of that has to do with ownership or vulnerability or being proactive in a way that brings healing to the relationship. So that's a lot of what we teach. And, our target audience in this is for those couples who really have come through betrayal, and yet they don't really know how to rebuild trust and reconnect as a couple. And that's a lot of what I help my guys with.
And how long have you been helping guys and couples now?
Professionally, we've been doing this since 2016. Prior to that, going back to 2013, 2014, I was running a 12-step group helping guys in this area as well. So quite a few years of experience with it. And we have been, with couples, we've been 95% effective when they have gone through our full program, as far as bringing them from the brink of divorce back to a place where they're healed.
I love what you're doing, and I applaud you for all that both you and Lori have gone through to get to this point, and just even wanting to help others, because from wanting to help others means that you guys are being raw, you're being real, you're sharing the good, the bad, and the darn right ugly of your journey. And I know that wasn't easy. I know that was not easy at all. And you guys do it in many ways. I know you have podcasts, you have group. What are some of the other ways people can stay connected with you?
Right. The primary place to connect with me is thecouplecure.com. That's our website. And on there, you'll find our podcast and you'll find our stories. For Lori, she asked me to mention pornpainhealed.com. Just like it's spelled, no spaces, because for women, this is a place for them when they've been betrayed to go find help as well. So that's our primary places on thecouplecure.com. But if you look for The Couple Cure on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, we're out there. So those are all places to connect with us as well.
You'll be seeing my interview with Lori, as well as the interview that I did with Lori and Jay on the Business Innovators magazine. So lots of Lori and Jay on Amazing Women of Power Radio and Raven International TV, simply because we adore them. They're amazing. I mean, what can you say about a couple that is being as raw and real as you guys are? I mean, you're coming out and you're sharing some deep, dark stuff about you to empower others that, like you said, Jay, whether it's pornography, whether it's gambling, whether it's just having affairs, whatever it is, you're empowering them to let go of the deep, dark secret. And I know one of the things you're big about is owning up to your part in doing things. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. One of the most challenging things facing the guy is owning all of this ugly behavior. And, I had to look in the mirror and realize there's a part of me that's a monster. There's a part of me that chose me over Lori, and I was ready to just throw her under the bus to protect my own self-image. And until I owned that, until I really sat in that, every time she brought her pain to me, I wanted to defend. I wanted to say, no, we're not going to talk about this because of what it means about me. And for the other guys, this is a huge leap for them. They really struggle with taking ownership of what they've done and staying there, because there's times I would own it and I'd be okay with owning it, and then she'd bring it up later and I'm like, no, I'm not okay with owning it anymore. I really want to get back to you seeing me as a good guy. And that's super challenging. And for guys, when they go down that path, they need somebody who's been there. They need somebody who has seen their own monster reflected in the mirror and can help them navigate that. And that's a big part of why my story helps other guys, why it resonates with the wives so well, is that I've been there and Lori's been there, and we've managed to get through it. And not just get through it, but get through it to a place where we're really healed and happy.
What are some things you did to get through it, you and Lori?
Oh my goodness. Of course, we did kind of the typical approaches. We went to therapy. Our therapists were somewhat helpful. They got us at least started. They gave us some new directions when we were really stuck. A lot of it came down to trusting God, because there were days where we were so stuck that it was like, if God, if there's not a divine being out there somewhere that intercedes in this moment, we're done. We both have come to the absolute end of what we're capable of doing, and we would begin again. And so it does help that I have an extremely committed and faithful wife in Lori, who is absolutely awesome. And I had to stay humble. I had to get to that place of saying, she knows the worst of me. And if I can't stay there, we're just going to keep battling, and I'm just going to keep doing more harm. So getting through it was a lot of conversations, a lot of time of connection, and even times where we took a break. When you're trying to rebuild trust, it feels like you've got to be doing it 24/7, but there's even a place to take a break and remember why we met in the first place, why we got together in the first place, and occasionally have some fun to remember, okay, why are we doing this again? It's not just so we keep fighting and going over all these same conversations. It's we got together because we actually enjoy each other. So let's do some of that too.
Yeah. Well, you talked about taking a break. So let's break for a second and remind our listeners that you're listening to Amazing Women of Power Radio. And if you're watching this on our TV network, it's Raven International TV. We thank you for joining us either way and invite you to check out my interview with Lori Pyatt, as well as the interview I did both Jay and Lori together, which was absolutely amazing, for the Business Innovators magazine. So I'm talking to Jay Pyatt today, and Jay, him and his wife went through a lot with his addiction to pornography, which she knew about before, but she thought that he had kind of let go, but behind the scenes, he was still carrying it on. And so up to this point, Jay has kind of shared, what he had to own up to and how they got past it, and what, encouraged them to transform from being the victims or being the one that was stuck into the pain, into the hurt, into the, I guess you could say, the privacy, the embarrassment, and holding on to it, to letting go in such a big way that they would share what they've gone through to help others, regardless whether it's pornography or whether it's cheating or on your spouse or whatever. So again, welcome back, Jay, to our show. We're so thrilled to have you here, and we again applaud you for just being honest and real with us. So let's take a step back, because you guys talked before we took break about how you had to take a break. How and what kind of ways did that hurt you, or what's some of the fears and things that you had to deal with then?
Right. Whenever we would talk about separation, or Lori would need to leave the house for a few days just to be away from me, it really triggered some fear of abandonment in me. And again, I had to trust that she would come back. But that was also part of the healing process for me, was to realize I didn't trust Lori either. I gave her a ton of reasons not to trust me. You lie to somebody 1,000 times, they are not going to trust you.
Yeah.
But underneath that, I had kind of a distrust of her, not necessarily because of her, but because of my own past. And I held Lori responsible for some of that, which is unfair and completely unhealthy. But so I had to sit and trust that when she said she would give me another shot, that she really meant it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for her, the fear was as soon as she left, I would turn back to my old life. I would turn back to using pornography to feel good. And for her, that was a big risk as well. So we put some things in place to make sure that didn't happen. And I had to do some bookending with her. So bookending is a recovery term. I tell you what I'm going to do, and then I do it, and then I tell you how it went afterwards. So bookending is kind of a neat tool to use.
I was going to ask you what are some of the things you put in place. So the bookending, great idea. Now, the things that you put in place for you to get through it, I'm assume these are some of the tools that you help your clients put in place as well. So I want to take that so we can lead into two very important questions. Number one, do you have any kind of background, certificate, or anything for what you're doing? Or are you just truly just taking from lessons learned and things you dealt with? So let's answer that first.
The first question is, I'm a certified mentor through an organization called Brave Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Leahy, the guy that runs Brave Hearts, has been doing the mentoring process for many, many years. And so he really was a test bed, and he said, yes, this can work, and so on. But otherwise, I have a degree in computer science. My history in this, navigating this, not just with myself, but with other people, is really what I pull from. It's not I read this in a book or I heard this in a seminar, but I lived through this, and Lori and I walked each and every step that we're going to ask our clients to walk through.
Mm-hmm.
This is not something that I'm saying, well, the best practices in the industry right now is to do this, but I've never actually done it myself.
Yeah.
I have done it, and so I don't really have a degree, but I do have a lot of experience, both for myself and for the clients I've worked with.
Sometimes that's the best experience, the real experience, for sure. Okay, so I've got to ask you, how is pornography affecting guys? Here we are in 2019, and what have you found in the last decade as far as how it's affecting guys today?
Well, I think it's affecting them in a lot of different ways. Number one, the statistics on this, even within the church, is somewhere between 40 and 80% of men are viewing pornography on a regular basis. Now, they may not be addicted, but that they are viewing it means that, some of the other results is they're seeing women as less than. They're seeing women as an object for their pleasure versus a human. And I think, there are some studies in this that have shown that sex trafficking, human trafficking has increased as pornography has increased. I don't know if there's a causation or connection or any of that, but I know that there is a lot of abuse of women as a result. So then you see things like teenagers that are sending naked photographs of themselves to one another that aren't necessarily asked for. I didn't ask you for this photo, but now I'm getting to see things I didn't. Yeah. So I think that pornography is affecting our cultural conversation about how we treat one another.
Wow.
And we're starting to see numbers like celibacy is increasing. I think celibacy is increasing because, meaning staying unmarried, is increasing because all of that hard work of relationship, that's too challenging. I've got all this pornography I can watch. I can have the physical pleasure without all of the headaches of, relationship type headaches.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's what it's doing overall. And what I've seen, in my own guys is just a deep sense of shame. They really don't like who they've become because of what they've done. Now that could be the lying and the pornography. It could be just pornography, but it's really taken a lot of guys to places they never thought they would go.
Yeah. You talked about emotional intelligence a while back. Tell us more about that and as to why it's important. And then we'll wrap it up with finding out what's next for you and your beautiful wife, Lori.
Okay, great. Emotional intelligence is just exactly that, being able to receive emotions and understand emotions in a healthy way. And throughout my years of using pornography, whenever I didn't like the emotion I was feeling, that emotion could be sadness or boredom or anger, I would turn to pornography. So instead of really learning how my emotions affected me, I would medicate them. I would shut them down.
Mm.
And that's really true of a lot of the guys I've worked with. So most of them, when I talk to them, they have one of two emotions. They're either completely numb or they're extremely angry. And so becoming more emotionally intelligent about their own emotions first helps them to say, okay, why am I feeling tempted to turn back to my drug of choice, whether that's porn or gambling or alcohol or whatever? Why am I feeling tempted to go back there? Well, it's because I'm feeling this emotion that I'm not used to experiencing. And if I could get more intelligent about, okay, how do I stay in the emotion of boredom
Mm-hmm.
or anger or fear or anxiety without medicating it? What do I do to navigate this emotion well? So that's one step. And then the next part of emotional intelligence is learning. When Lori would start to cry, I would freak out. I just want it to stop. I want to fix it. I want her to not feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of valuing the emotion she was going through, which was really her trying to tell me, hey, this hurts, or what you did was really painful, I just wanted the emotion to go away.
Mm-hmm.
But the more intelligent I got about how to handle my own, I
Mm-hmm.
could handle her emotions. And when
Yeah.
I could sit with her in her emotions, I gave her value. I gave her that understanding, that empathy that she
Mm-hmm.
needed, versus sympathy, which sympathy as well, it sucks to be you, and I'm really sorry that you're in that situation, but I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Empathy is, wow, your emotions really touch me, and I want to just sit with you in them until you feel better.
Until you feel better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that, I think, is why emotional intelligence is so key to rebuilding some of what's going on.
Well, here it is. The good news, guys, of everything that Jay is sharing is that they are definitely together all the way. Their marriage is, I will say, still in the healing process, because I believe all of us throughout life, we stay in the healing process. They have made some humongous breakthroughs, so much so that they're passing on the lessons learned as they're passing on the pain that they dealt with to help others. So what's next for you and Lori, and how can people connect with you?
Okay. The we have 20 years of experience and 100 plus best practices that we want to share with other people.
Mm-hmm.
So what's next for us is we're going to continue to work our podcast. We actually want to work with couples who aren't in breakdown. So our clients right now are people who are on the brink of divorce, but we also want to work with those couples who are just, they're feeling like, well, our marriage is okay, but we want to make it better. So how do we make it better? And the tools that we've used, all of these best practices we've found, apply in those situations as well. They're all about, improving the relationship, improving your communication, connecting emotionally. So that's really the next step. And that's, you can find that on thecouplecure.com. We have a freebie on there about dating, about how to improve your dating life. Yes, when you're married, you should keep dating because again, you need to have those fun moments to remember why you got together. You didn't get together just to pay bills and raise children. You got together to enjoy one another. And so having those moments of connection, we give away a freebie on thecouplecure.com. And our podcast in season 2, we're going to start talking about betrayal and some of the tools there, but season 1 also has some really good information just about how to make your relationship better. So that's really the next step for us is to move away from crisis only to healthy relationships that want to get better. Lori and I are both starting groups on a regular monthly basis, so those groups will explore some of those tools as well. So quite a lot on our plate, but we want to keep moving forward and helping other couples to get what we have found.
Yeah, and you want to help other couples to keep moving forward too, and have the breakthrough they deserve. And because you and Lori dealt with it, that it takes a lot of hand-holding. It takes a lot of guidance and mentoring among owning it. And we applaud you for owning it. Well, that's a wrap today. Our guest, Jay Pyatt, and what can I say? Another awesome interview. And that I really adore about Jay and Lori is that they just are telling it like it tis, right? Isn't it time for you to stop, hiding whatever it is you're hiding? Isn't it time for you to feel free to be yourself? Because we're all meant to grow. We're all meant to go through a certain amount of pain, and it's different. It's not the same for everybody. So the thing is that you learn from your lessons and you heal from it if you allow yourself to own it and heal. So we're so proud of you. We're so proud of Lori for the strength and courage that you guys showed. And we're proud of each and every one of you that are going through your own thing. And you're getting there little step by step. But if you want to go all the way and let go of the shame, let go of whatever you're hiding, plug into Lori, plug into Jay. Both of these Pyatts, they are a fire team. They got it going on, guys, and we encourage and we salute them for what they do. We encourage you to check out our links on our Amazing Women and Men of Power podcast show notes on all of the interviews for Jay, for Lori, and for the one we did of them together, and stay plugged in. If you know someone that's suffering from pornography or suffering from a deep, dark secret, hey, the best way you can help them is point them in the right direction so that they can be mentored by someone that's been there, done that, and they know what it takes. They know what steps and tools to use. Jay has that for you. Jay, do you have a phone number, 800 number, or anything if they want to call you?
269-409-1437.
That's a wrap, y'all. You're tuned in to Amazing Women and Men of Power. Back with more right after this.